Okay, whenever we begin something new, it's easy to feel excited or gung-ho, whether for a new school year, a new job, or a new relationship. Then life happens. As time passes, feelings of newness naturally go away. Excitement can settle, and other feelings can arise, including feelings we don't always like. School can start to get hard or boring, a new job can start to feel dull, and a relationship can get challenging as two people figure out how and whether to love each other when the initial excitement starts to fade. Something similar can happen while moving through your own recovery. At this point, you've spent some real time working with Fortify, assuming you haven't been rushing too fast. Maybe you felt some excitement as you started this and dove into some different trainings that hopefully felt exciting. As you've learned new things about the brain, tried out new tactics, learned new techniques, and created your own battle strategy, you've also talked repeatedly about the many reasons for hope and what lies ahead for you. As you finish this program and get back to your regular routine and normal feelings, is any of this stuff really going to matter and really stick? It's important that we talk about that. As the newness of what you've heard dies away, what will all of this really mean for your life? With videos and modules on training and overall strategy behind us, now it's time to talk directly about what that stuff looks like in the messy, crazy hard, frustrating, up and down experiences of life. After years of addiction, someone might look at Fortify and think, do these guys know how incredibly hard it is to turn away from this stuff? Do they realize how weak I feel during the day without using? Maybe you've tried some of the skills from the basic training and it's still hard. You're still having a tough time. And if that's where you're at, then listen up. The people who built this program know what you're going through. We know what it's like for you, but not only from reading books, from our own lives. What this means is we're not naive about how hard this can be for you. We absolutely realize how hard this is and how difficult it can be, even just to move a few steps in the right direction. That's why we're not saying, just try harder and it'll all go away, or just finish the program and your life will change instantly. No. We celebrate at the beginning because you were brave enough to start something new. And we will celebrate at the end for the same reason. But the celebration will come a year from now, the 3 years from now, 10 years from now, when you see the true benefits of living a porn-free lifestyle. If your desire to stop using is small and inconsistent today, don't worry, it can grow. If your ability to stay clean is weak, that's why we're doing this together. Trust what we're sharing with you. Trust the tactics, tips, and ideas we're giving you, as well as the battle strategy you're creating for yourself. Trust the process. The process of backing away from pornography is really similar to stepping away and tapering off other things your body has a love-hate relationship with. It takes time for your brain to get used to life without illegal drugs or cigarettes too. If you stay away long enough, your body will readjust, detox, and start to crave better things. Every moment that you're working on real relationships is another moment of deeper healing. Every moment that your mind is focusing on uplifting ideas is another moment of brain restoration. Don't try to fight tomorrow's battles today. Take one moment at a time. As we keep telling you, you have so many reasons to be hopeful. The more your brain begins to strengthen and create neural pathways, the less the old ones get used. And the less they get used, the more they begin to atrophy and the more you're able to heal. Give this process enough time, and choosing not to use will become just as much of a habit as using once was. In order to get there, though, as we said all along, you're going to have to fight. A part of this comes down to being tough. This didn't start out as an equal fight. Rather than starting this program on a level playing field, you come to it as a prisoner in chains seeking to rebel. Your freedom and peace is worth any sacrifice, any price, trust me. As a group of fighters, one of our mottos is, we do hard things. During your battle toward recovery, you will become another kind of person. Someone that just doesn't run away from pain anymore, that doesn't crumble in the face of intense pain and urges. Someone that endures, who feels resistance but keeps pushing forward. This person may feel a long way off, but believe us, it's your future if you want it. Throughout your recovery, you're going to come across moments and messages that challenge your determination for freedom. You're going to face fatigue and unexpected attacks against everything you're working for. At times, you're even going to fall. In spite of all these new tools, personal skills, and battle strategies, cravings will still come and urges will still arise. Why is it that urges can hit right when you're trying to make progress? One big reason for this is that your brain doesn't know how to change as fast as your lifestyle and environment. Even if you've made a commitment to go in a certain direction, your neural pathways still represent the directions that you went yesterday and the days before. This means that the body inevitably lags behind your awareness a couple steps and creates some resistance. So it's time to buckle up. Cigarette smokers working toward recovery describe the week after they quit smoking as Hell Week. As your brain is adjusting and reshaping itself to a new setting and new habits, the psychological changes will slowly take hold, but not without a fight. Once again, the body's patterns don't change easily. For a smoker who has conditioned his or her brain to crave nicotine for years, you can't expect that same brain to be happy when it's gone. It has taken time, many decisions, and actions to get your body and brain where they are now. It will take that similar amount of effort, if not more, to move it in another direction. This doesn't mean you will get to the point where provocative images suddenly aren't arousing. Instead, this means your brain will get to the point where you have the strength to decide whether or not you want to view them. It's not only physical resistance that can cause challenges. Another level of turbulence can arise from tempting rationalizations, things we think or say to help us feel better about something we're not proud of. We convince ourselves that something is not a big deal, so we don't have to face an unpleasant reality. You know what we're talking about. One look won't hurt. Just a little will be okay. I will change eventually. As long as I stay away from the really bad stuff, I'll be okay. I can stop at any time I want to. I can stop when I get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I will stop when I start college or when I have less stress in my life. At least I'm not into drugs. This is the last time. I'll just keep it a secret and no one will ever need to know. You heard some of these before, maybe in your own head. While they seem different, each of them contains the same basic idea. What I'm about to do is okay. It is justified. It is understandable. Go ahead, do it. Simply put, by rationalizing, we are actually lying to ourselves, tricking ourselves into believing that there's no harm in what we're about to do. Deep down, of course, we know this isn't true. These small justifications can actually become a huge barrier. Very often, a binge begins with just one look. Allowing yourself to justify a decision that can lead you into an addiction cycle is like surrendering the battle before it even begins. In order to maintain control during those moments of turbulence, you need to practice holding onto your seat and focusing on the final destination. Don't take your mind off your long-term goals. Every time a thought enters your mind that minimizes your true desires and tries to convince you that a bad decision is not a big deal, remember where you came from. Recognize how far you've come and stay focused on your desired destination. Resist the temptation to embrace a lie to feel okay about some instant pseudo-pleasure. Think back to the basic training where we taught you a powerful strategy. STAR. Using STAR can help you take a step back and respond to temptations in a healthy way. Finding an anchor, something or someone you love more than your addiction, can help you find the motivation and strength to endure the turbulence in your brain. Of course, even with work, pornography withdrawal will mean some turbulence and aftershocks in your brain. This is no different than the withdrawal that comes from tobacco, alcohol, or other drugs. Similar to moving a river, the channels in your brain will take some time to redirect. Be patient and stick with it. If you stay strong during those challenging moments, you can't lose. Sometimes it's hard to know what is true and what is not when listening to messages coming at us every day in the media. While watching TV or reading a blog, you'll come across messages that seem to contradict everything we've been teaching you in this program. If this hasn't happened to you already, it will. You'll hear or read things like, "This is natural and normal behavior. Everybody's doing it. It feels good, so how bad can it be? It's not hurting anyone." During past wartime, enemy campaigns would often fly airplanes over enemy lines and drop leaflets with messages designed to create fear and persuade people to give up. As a fighter, don't be surprised when the same thing happens to you. The porn industry does this today. If we're not careful, this propaganda can shake the very foundation upon which we are building our recovery. It can make us question our own commitments and core desires to the point where we might even start to believe those bogus messages despite all we've learned. Don't let that happen. Remember, it took 40 years from the time research came out against smoking for mainstream media and pop culture to finally recognize that it was harmful. Only recently have we started to see anti-smoking messages on TV, movies, and the internet. It might take another 30 or even 50 years for us to see the same thing regarding the harmful effects of pornography, so don't hold your breath. Like we said earlier, when it comes to shifting public perception, things don't often move fast. You're going to need to be prepared for these counterattacks if you want to succeed in your recovery. You can do this by educating yourself through books, articles, documentaries, and other reputable sources. This knowledge will help you recognize when a message from the media is true or false, helpful or harmful. Then when you come across a false message, you will be better prepared to reject it and move past it. Now, we're not saying all media is bad. Of course it isn't. We cannot begin to list all the great benefits we enjoy thanks to advancements in media messaging. Nor are we saying that all media is good. Like most things, it simply depends on the messaging being delivered. Some are incredibly helpful and uplifting, while others reek of falsehood and can be quite damaging if we let them. By learning how to decipher the messages that often force themselves into our lives and try to derail our progress, we will be far more prepared to withstand them and stay strong amid opposition. The Bay of Fundy, found on the eastern coast of Canada between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, is known for having the highest tide range in the world. In a matter of 13 hours, the tide can rise to 53 feet and then recede back to its original depth. At times, our own desires can feel a bit like the Bay of Fundy. Some days feeling an increased motivation for recovery, and then others feeling depleted of energy and strength. Some days you'll really want to beat this. Other times, I don't really care right now. Maybe you've had that experience since starting this program. It's okay, that's normal. It means you're human. Have you ever met anyone whose desires never fluctuate, never shift, and never waver? Neither have we. But if you do, let us know because we want their autograph. It's common during the recovery process to experience conflicting desires. Plain and simple, our desires are not always fixed on the same goal or at the same level of intensity. At any given moment, part of you may want to recover and part of you may not. Because of this, we can end up profoundly inconsistent in our behavior. When the desire to work toward freedom is there, we are strong. When it's not, we can easily fall apart. At times, this results in a full-fledged war raging inside of us. From I really, really, really want to leave this behind to I don't care anymore to I kind of sort of want to beat this addiction. But let's be honest, sometimes your desire is to view pornography, right? Let's talk about that. How do you run from something that a part of you enjoys? Watching porn, after all, is not like hacking your arm off. There's a buzz to it. It feels good at first. But now you're going through the Fortify program, trying to back away from it. Why? Why walk away from something that can feel good? How can you stay committed when part of you doesn't feel motivated? It's also easy to wonder whether your desires will be conflicting like this for the rest of your life. Those are some tough questions you'll have to answer for yourself. If you want our 2 cents, here it is. First, this conflict of desires is a serious reminder of the importance of all the things we've discussed so far, including and especially securing your home base and getting others involved who can provide some accountability. If you don't involve other people and set up your environment to support your recovery, every time your desire shifts, you're likely to fall. As you give your brain and body what they need to detox and align with your true desires, of course, your need for external filtering and accountability can decrease. But for now, these parts of your battle strategy will be crucial protections for times when your desire is low. And over time, guess what? That deeper change can happen. The conflict in desires doesn't need to last forever. There is a Cherokee legend of a grandfather's advice to a boy who was struggling. According to the story, the grandfather said, "Inside every human being, a constant battle rages, a battle between 2 wolves. One is evil, he is full of hate, lust, greed, and arrogance. The other wolf is good, full of love, compassion, honesty, and humility. These 2 wolves are constantly at war, both trying to dominate the individual." The grandson thought about that for a minute and then asked, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "Whichever one you feed." How often do we all fall victim to the 2 wolves, torn back and forth by competing feelings? Again, it's normal to have those competing desires, but what matters is which one you give more attention to. Each time you feed a desire, it becomes stronger. So as you continuously feed the right desire, the desire pushing you towards recovery, eventually all other competing desires will starve. So which desire are you feeding? To help maintain a strong desire for recovery, keep your focus on ideas, messages, and activities that promote your desire for freedom. Do everything you can to surround yourself with things and people that will help you. No matter how intense the ebb and flow of your desire can get, you are still in the driver's seat. This doesn't mean that you won't have challenging days ahead, but when you do, you'll know how to get through them. Let's take a second to look at the reality of war. Nearly every victory experiences at least some casualties. Even with your best efforts, you will most likely not be perfect, especially in the beginning. In a weak moment, you may fall. Too bad you blew it. So much for freedom and recovery, right? Of course not. Relapse or setbacks are common occurrences on the road to recovery. It's true that these falls can be serious. Like weeds, they threaten to choke off the progress you make. But at the same time, setbacks happen for all of us. The important thing is that you keep moving forward and not lose focus on the end goal. In the moment of the setback, you will probably feel an intense pull to do the reverse, to continue falling deeper and deeper into the addiction cycle. Many of us get so discouraged that we think, I blew it, so much for all that progress. What a waste. And so one slip up turns into several days of binging. And that's when we start to get into a dangerous spot. When one setback turns into binging, it really does threaten to reverse your progress. So here's a tip. When a setback happens, stay away from both beating yourself up and from pretending it's not a big deal. Neither are healthy approaches. Instead, consider a more balanced approach in the aftermath of a setback that avoids both extremes. Try rewinding the entire experience to watch carefully what happened in slow motion, and then learn from it. What little choices led you to move toward using or starting the ritual? As you explore this, try tracing out the pattern, like backtracking through a lost battle site. When you've got that image in your mind, look for how you can set things up differently in the future, in preparation for when the next urge hits. As you learn from your experiences, other powerful, even life-changing insights can arise. Also, pay attention to the way you feel in that moment after using. Many report feeling numb, empty, guilty, embarrassed, depressed, or even angry. While these emotions can lead someone to throw in the towel and spiral downward again, they can also lead the person to recommit and feel a determination to be stronger, saying, I do not want to go through this again. Don't be too hard on yourself, though. Remember that you're not perfect and setbacks are common during a serious recovery. Rather than surrendering and giving up because of a failed moment, get back up and learn from the experience. Recommit again, not dramatically, but with the quiet, humble desire. As author Marianne Rotmacher said, sometimes courage is just saying, I will try again tomorrow. And sometimes a hero is someone who just keeps going. Take one day at a time, enjoying each 24 hours of freedom from pornography. One more thing. When a setback occurs, it is easy to focus on how many times you've fallen. We can be so focused on our failed moments that we're not paying attention to the good moments, the ones that aren't failures. What if instead of thinking only of failed attempts, you focus on how many times you've gotten up, how many times you've turned away, how many times you kept trying, and the fact that you were trying at all. Even when you've messed up, in that very next moment, you can recalibrate. In that very next moment, you can choose something that will strengthen you to go in another direction. The very next moment can be very, very different. Okay, let's get specific about one particular video that you watched in Fortify Your Relationships. Time to get serious. Remember what this video was talking about? Yeah, accountability. We weren't kidding when we said that getting a trusted adult involved is one of the most important and crucial steps in recovery. For something as serious as this fight, you need support. An individual or a group of individuals who are just as dedicated to your recovery as you are. Embrace the fact that there are individuals out there who want to help and want you to succeed. And for those of you who have already had your accountability partner involved in your recovery, you know just how important they are. You probably noticed the feeling of relief when you finally opened up, as if you were able to share some of the weight of the addiction that you've been carrying around all by yourself. How often are you checking in with your accountability partner? Do you need to bring others on your support team? Did you decide to install accountability software on your internet-enabled devices to help keep you committed? We want you to know that we are very proud of you for getting this far in the Fortify program. At this point, you've probably made some great changes in your life, and you're stronger each day because of it. You're getting better at STAR and becoming more confident in your ability to beat this addiction. These are all great things that will help continue to push you toward recovery. However, you need to know that without an accountability partner, your chances of reaching long-lasting recovery are limited. The likelihood of you falling back into your addiction after months and possibly even years of freedom is too great to risk by not involving someone else in your recovery process. Now, you may be holding back on getting an accountability partner because of the embarrassment or feeling uncomfortable with the idea of talking to someone about this. But I want to let you know, there are people out there who can help you. If you don't want to talk to your family or friends, the counselor at your school is a great resource. They've most likely heard it before, and really, this is what they do for work. Help people like you with concerns like this. They will help you stay committed, focused, and grounded. Without the help of an accountability partner, it's more likely that you'll have setbacks and even give up. Don't risk it. Remember, recovery is a process, and having someone encourage you through the ups and downs makes all the difference. Do it. You won't regret it.